One of the first questions a lot of people have is, what size printer do I need? The size printer you need is going to be based on how large of something you're planning on printing. So if you're getting a 35 printer, it's not going to print a 3550 building. Money's a factor. The cost for a large 5050 printer, 5000 printer versus a 3535 printer is a significant difference in cost. And we'll try and explain why some of that is here in just a second. But you have to look at dollars and cents and how often you're going to be printing, what size, to determine whether or not that investment is going to be necessary. If you're printing a lot of homes, then that's real simple. You want to print the entire home at one time. You don't want to have to print and move the printer, which is something you can do. That's the option. If you're not doing as much, okay, big deal. It took you, instead of 2 days, it took you 4 days on something like 1200 or more. So what you can do is print half of the building. Okay, our printers have wheels. They move. You don't have to take them apart and put them back together again like everyone else. You don't have to put down sidewalks for gantries that are on tracks going back and forth. You set the printer up, sets up in a 3535 sets up in 40 minutes. The fastest time we've got from a training group so far has been 39 minutes. So that's huge, because most other people, it's taken them 4 days, 5 days just to set up a gantry style printer, and that's widely known. So that where people are like, oh, we can set ours up in a day or whatever else. Congratulations. Number one, I don't think so. Number two, ours sets up in under an hour, 40 minutes. And then once it's set up, if I want to move it 10 feet, 1 foot, if I want to move it 1 foot, I don't have to tear my entire printer apart and start all over again, because ours have wheels and they just roll to the next area that you need them. So the next question that people are always asking is, if I get a 3535, can I later on set it up bigger? And the answer is no. Not because we want to charge you for a larger printer. It's because a larger printer is built entirely different. And that's one of the challenges we have here. Most others have, here's our printer size, take it or leave it. If you're looking at CBA, if you're looking at Apis, Icon, some of the more common known printer companies, they basically, here's what we have. We customize our printer to whatever size you need. So you tell us what size. The larger the printer, the harder it is to pull hose. Okay, a 10-foot, like on a CBA, you got a little printer that can print whatever the arm can reach, but it certainly can't print a whole home, and you have to move it 20 times, not to mention the tracks are so wide you can't really even get it inside the house to print. Our printer, we set up, print the whole house at one time. Time is money. So back to, can I increase the size of my printer, which I said no. Everything about the printer has to be stronger, bigger. You're pulling, instead of 10-foot of hose, you might be pulling 50-foot of hose, 200-foot of hose as you make the printer larger. Trussing is different. The amount of legs we have on the and standards. The gantry, okay, the wider that gantry gets, it's wanting to do this because you have a gantry at the top, and the further distance you have to build for that. So we have motors on the printer that are making all the components move this way, up and down, this way. And the size of those, they're stepper drivers. So the size of those stepper drivers have to increase as we're pulling more weight. And it's not just, okay, we got to change out a motor. No, as the motors increase, so does the gauge wire, the size wire that we are using throughout the printer, which adds a hell of a lot of weight. I mean, instead of something this big, or our wire's this big. But if you don't adjust your wire according to the amp and the volts, then you're going to heat up your motor. You're going to have all kinds of problems. So as the printer gets bigger, the motors get bigger. The wiring to those motors gets bigger. The stepper drivers that drive those motors and interpret the code from the control cabinet, those have to get bigger. Our pumps have to get bigger. Pushing mud through a little 10-foot hose and pushing mud through a 200-foot hose are two different things. And then the pressure in the hose. The pressure in a 10-foot hose is nothing. I mean, I damn near do that with a garden hose. Pressure in a 100-foot printer, there's a hell of a lot of pressure. Hope it was helpful. Look forward to seeing you guys here.